All right, Marta, so day two at Akrapovič, and but we're in a different facility. So where we are today?
So we are at the Akrapovič serial production facility. It's 1 hour, from our headquarters, and it's like triple of the size of the headquarters size.
So automotive and motorcycle exhausts are made in this facility?
Yes. So the large volume exhausts and also other exhausts our products are manufactured here. However, a really small production, is like on the headquarters side.
So how is the day going to go? What are we going to see here today?
So majority of technologies which we use for production of exhaust systems, from laser, welding, cutting, 3D laser, tube mill, and so on, we'll see.
Gotcha. So I guess we should just dive right in and take a look.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Let's go.
All
right, Marta, so tell me what's going on here.
So this is our Akrapovič tube mill. It's actually a machine, a really large machine which produces tubes. In Akrapovič we do all titanium and also other tubes by ourselves. So we get the big coils, we cut them, and then we form them in tubes. We have then in the end tubes of different grades, different diameters, which we then use other techniques to form them, right? And we have different diameters, thicknesses, materials. We also mark them, and there's a special technique of managing it to get a precise diameter in tolerances, and also that the weld, when welding the sheet metal together, is really strong, not to break when we do the other stuff afterwards.
All right, so moving on to the next station then. Actually, no, let's go see the tubes now. Let's go see how the tube comes out, because I guess this is just a sheet, so we want to see the actual tube. Exactly. All right, so we're gonna go that way.
So we are now at the end of the machine. So we saw the raw material coming in the machine, like a sheet metal. Now it's bended and welded. Okay, so now we are standing in front of one 2D laser cutting machine, one of them, which are many of them. And here we cut virtually majority or some of the pieces of the exhaust system and some other products. And without this machine, it would be really hard to actually manufacture the exhaust. We can cut, different materials, different thicknesses. What is important here is also that the cut is really sharp, so later on it doesn't give us problems. There are many of the techniques that we use afterwards to shape in the final piece, or product, that comes then later on integrated in the exhaust system.
And this is the place where you grab the scrape material also. So you have scrape material here that's left, and then you use that, like we saw
in the later
earlier.
process, like let's say foundry.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Next step. So this is a thick welding machine. We use the machines obviously, to automatically weld some parts in large volumes, especially. Doesn't matter what kind of project. What matters is that the quality of the weld is there, and we shave some time obviously with not welding manually. We also control the quality of the weld, which is really important because in majority of the cases it can be also some of the sheet metal parts coming together, which needs to be tight. So leakage zero, which means that the weld needs to be in line, also for the durability.
So this would be tips, exhaust tips maybe that's welded on this machine, brackets?
In some cases, let's say if we have maybe really formed big sheet metal parts, yes, many parts. It depends on the let's say design or construction.
Just application specific.
Yes.
Okay.
So guys, now we are in front of the manual welding area, one stage. And apart, from the machine welding, we use also manual welding because we have so wide portfolio of products to cover. That means that we cannot optimize all of the welds, right? And we take care of the quality of the welds. We have the really experienced welders which have certain certificates in order to get the quality of the welds to a certain level which we require. We also check the quality of the welds afterwards with the leakage test, with the penetrate test. It depends on the product itself. And what is also important is that, let's say, the welding is somehow, let's say, the technology needs to be adapted, right? Because the caps, when welding the titanium, should be really tight, meaning that some of the really complex shapes should be just welded manually. So the complete setup of technology needs to be adapted to a titanium welding. Now we are standing in front of the tube bending machine. Of course, a bunch of them. We bend all sorts of pipes, tubes that we produce in-house from different material, titanium, stainless steel, different diameters, different thicknesses. What is important here is that the bends, the angle of the bends are accurate, meaning that we can also assemble them correctly or more precisely into the half assemblies, and exhaust systems. And what we also take care of is that there are different angles on one pipe, meaning that the scrap or technological scrap of the pipe is less. Really important for us. These machines are highly customized according to our needs. Guys, now we are in front of the 3D laser cutting machine. We use this machine to cut complex shapes, especially from formed parts. Can be also from tubes. It depends on the product itself. The most important thing is that these cuts are done accurately according to the CAD model or the technical documentation. And the driver for this is get the parts attached. Otherwise, also the cutting is not accurate. And we can cut many materials in different thicknesses. We just need to program machine in order to get the correct cut. We have also two stages here. The workers are preparing the material on one side, and then the machine cuts simultaneously on the other, and then it's just changed.
So once the cuts are made, they'll be put in like a sub-assembly area where you're doing sub-assemblies and assembly of the exhaust?
Exactly.
Okay.
So these are actually the parts coming into half and full assemblies. We have also the machine which we saw earlier, right? So it's the laser cutting tube machine, which in some cases where we have just a straight pipe, use it for cutting some of the certain shapes of holes, and not to use this machine because it's much more complex and for other purposes, right? Where there's a 3D cut, not a 2D cut, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Welcome to Composites department, guys. So we are at the final stage, quality control. We have multiple quality control points, but here we can see final pieces in action. So just a brief overview of few different parts. Everything starts with the base material. So we are using mainly carbon-based fabric that's pre-impregnated in pre-preg shape that we then use for hand lamination. So all of our parts are handcrafted, cured, autoclave processed, and then demolded, machined and clear coated. So here we can see an example from start to finish of a tailpipe for BMW. So the mold, the first stage when the part is being cured, and the final stage after the parts are being machined and clear coated. So we have a different visual approaches, so different kind of materials, different kind of finish. So like chop, fabric based, twill, plain. So and also different finishes like gloss, matte finish, and semi-gloss or satin finish. We can see different products as well. So rear wing for BMW M3, M4. Also, I believe this one is for BMW M4. If you would like to touch it and feel it how light it is, just let me know and I'll give you gloves.
Yeah, let's do that. Like, why not?
Take me through the process of the mold starts, and then this fabric is hand laid inside of the mold.
Yeah, hand laminated inside the finish of the mold. So the finish of the mold defines the shape of the part itself, and we will see that in the process. We do everything in-house, like we mentioned before. You can check this one. Yeah, this is only the fabric without the resin, and the next stage is pre-preg. That means pre-impregnated fabric with resin. All of our materials are specifically designed and made for us with our own recipes, so it's optimal for our production process. You can try and lift this piece up, but just be very careful so you don't damage or scratch the other part. Just be really careful. Yeah, this is one of our final pieces. Yeah. Don't scare me there.
All right.
Okay, just take your time. If you follow me a bit further, we have also for the new BMW, the latest generation of tailpipes from composites that are also part of the exhaust system. So you can see here part of the complete exhaust system that's being checked before it goes to assembly in Chernobyl or in Ivanchna. Okay, like we discussed before, from the base material that's being hand laminated into the composites tooling. So we laminate every specific layer inside the tool. It has to be laminated really with high precision, so you require the operator requires some hand skills to press on really hard to reach areas so we don't have any issues afterwards. So there's a lot of skills required to produce this piece and to maintain the highest quality possible. So mold has to be prepped accordingly with the specific process so we can demold afterwards the part. And after the part is being laminated, before demolding, of course, it goes to vacuum bagging and autoclave, and we have the whole cycle. In the autoclave, the material transforms, and this process is irreversible. So we have a full cured part in the first stage. And this is really, really critical. A lot of hand skills with lamination and also vacuum bagging is really important. This is really a short explanation. You will see later on. On my right, we can see also different, let's say a few more parts. This is basically the same tailpipe, just different base material. So this is fabric based and this is chop based material. And also the finish in this case is the same, it's matte finish. When the parts are ready, they go to the assembly line with the internal parts of titanium. They are assembled and ready to go to our customer.
And the matte finish is obtained from matte clear?
Clear coating.
Matte clear versus gloss clear.
Yes. As you can see here, our branding and homologation numbers and so on under the clear coat. So they are not, you don't feel them under the clear coat. They are completely flat. So yeah, everything from lamination, from machining, assembly, gluing together and so on, clear coating, everything is done in-house. Guys, now we are on the final stage, right? You can see the final product. We are actually on the quality control check, which is done 100% on each of our exhausts. And here, you can see technologies that we saw earlier, like from tube bending, from the manual welding, also the machine welding, right? Some of the cast parts are also integrated inside, materials or parts which are also manufactured in-house with the sound reflector in this case, some of the form parts, then the brackets which are also designed and manufactured here, and of course the outer shell covering, the inside internals with a special configuration fitted to the vehicle which this exhaust will be fitted to.
So it's so interesting that we started the day with a plain sheet of metal, basically. We end up with this. I mean, it's a piece of art. I can't say that I'm an expert in exhaust, honestly, but finally seeing the the product here, it just looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, Sean, you're more of an expert in this, and I think you will agree with me. And maybe it's even worth explaining this piece right here, like you said earlier. It's a cast piece, puts everything together. So everything is done with a purpose, right? This is a functional piece. It's not just beautiful, but it's supposed to be extremely functional, durable, and all of that.
I mean, what is the most important to us is, to get from the customer the wow effect. That's the bottom line. Not only visual appearance, because this system obviously is also sandblasted. It can be also coated, so ceramic coated. But nevertheless, also with the usage of the exhaust, that the customer experiences a differentiation, not only to the original exhaust, but also maybe compared to the other exhaust or whatsoever. So we just want to provide the customer, the satisfactory factor, the maximum what we can.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see all of the steps and the details that go into all of this, because one of my favorite things to do is have a customer come out while we unbox the brand new exhaust before it goes on their car.
See the reaction,
absolutely, and they're always blown away, but they're also blown away 2 months later when they come in for an oil change or come in to see something, and I take them outside and show them the bluing of the exhaust. And like he said, it's the travel of the exhaust and what it's been through. It's two different products, before and after.
It's like a patina kind of thing, right? You see it on watches and all of that.
100%.
But I guess what's also worth pointing out quite a bit is the fact that there is a lot of manual work, right? So it's not just a robot looking at a piece of, exhaust. It's really a lot of people here, so many employees that care about this. And the fact that they manually check things, and that gives you a little bit of a peace of mind when you buy something like this, basically.
No, for sure. Honestly speaking, you saw it, throughout walking the company, the majority of the people really are so passionate about it, and you can see it on the final product,
Absolutely.
That's something which maybe, is worth mentioning for sure.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I think this has been an extremely informative journey for me, especially, being kind of like a newbie when it comes to exhaust. I think that both of us, we can agree that we didn't expect to see this here. You always imagine something more like a smaller, type of operation, but it's absolutely impressive. I mean, this is full-blown industrial, facility, and everything has been really, really great. So honestly, we thank you for your time walking us through 2 days. I mean, really done almost 10, 12 hours just looking at the exhaust and going through the whole process. So to me, it's been extremely informative, and honestly, hopefully one day you can give out like public tours, because I think that would be something that one day you could do, even with like a smaller subset of things, because I think people will appreciate this even more, honestly, seeing it from themselves, what you do here. So absolutely, thank you from my side. Sean, if you want to wrap this up, it's all you.
I mean, this is something I've thought about since 2009, 2010, when I first, saw these exhausts, because there's such a difference from other products that you've seen and what you've been around in the industry. And when you see this, so it's great to be able to put 2 and 2 together with manufacturing, the passion of the people, and all the little details that go into it. It's amazing to see. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and when people ask me now, why is it so expensive? Now I can take this video and send it to them and say, here is why. Because
100%.
And we've only barely touched the surface and everything, really, but you can see how much it goes into making an actual exhaust. It's not just something done quickly, So once again, thank you so much. Thank you for hosting us in Slovenia. It is absolutely beautiful country. And Ljubljana is absolutely amazing. So, it's also worth come visiting here, not just for the exhaust, basically. So, Mate, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
you.